We're here to have conversations with counselors. I have a few of my most favorite colleagues with me today, and since it is National School Counseling Week, we thought that we would talk a little bit about our job and tell you what we love and tell you how we got here. And also an opportunity for you guys to get to know us as your student school counselor. So, I'm Jasmine Moore. I'm the school counselor at Morningside, and I have been a counselor for 6 years.
My name is Anna Maya. I am at Peters Colony Elementary, and I have been a school counselor for I believe this is my 17th year.
All right, I'll go next. Oh. Go, Sarah, go.
I'm Sarah Metcalf. I'm the counselor at BB Owen, and I have been a counselor for 6 years.
I'm Laura Norton. I'm the counselor at Memorial Elementary, and since Anna said 17, I'm 17 too because we started together. Thanks for the math.
And I'm Caroline Henson. I'm the counselor at Etheridge Elementary, and this is my 4th year as a school counselor.
So Sarah, did we come in together? Are we both 6 or am I 7 and
I don't know. I'm debating if I'm 7 because I did 2 years in Frisco before I was here.
Oh, you might be 7, I might be 6. We might have to redo some math. I really don't honestly know.
I'm trying to remember what year is what.
So Sarah, since we're already talking, what made you become a school counselor? What was behind this story for you?
I always knew that I wanted to help people, and I never really knew exactly what I wanted that to look like. And I grew up in a family of educators, and so that was just kind of what I knew. And so I got my undergrad in early childhood education, but I got my minor in addictive disorders and recovery studies. And I was just really interested in kind of the counseling piece of things. And so decided after my undergrad to go to grad school for counseling and just kind of counseling in general, and figured since I already had my bachelor's in early childhood, I should go ahead and make some money. And so I started teaching while I was getting my master's. Don't necessarily recommend that anybody jump into their first year teaching and their first year of their master's program at the same time, but live to tell about it. And as I got into my program and as I started teaching, just the need for counselors in schools just became some more prevalent to me. And so I decided that that was the route that I wanted to go to be able to help the babies right here.
That's awesome. I love your story. Laura, how about you?
Well, the funny thing is, if you would have asked me 23 years ago when I started teaching if this was my path, I had no idea. Coincidentally, the second step program that we use in the classrooms for social emotional learning, we used to use them when I taught 3rd and 5th grade. We'd hold up these little black and white cards, and we'd be like, "What's Sarah doing?" And although at the time I was like, "This is cheesy," I'm reading a script. The conversations and the things that came out of those talks, and so I realized that I really got passionate. We were talking about the way we were treating others and our character and our integrity and all that stuff. Like, I was like, man, I'm loving this. And so I was like, how can I do this for a living? And so now I get to live out my passion every day because I get to.
Awesome. So Anna, you're our other veteran of the group.
I think I was wrong, Laura. I think this is our 16th year. I don't know.
I started in 07, so I was like, this would be end of this year would be 17.
All right. We lost track.
It happens, we're old.
We're old. So I started teaching at a Title I campus in Fort Worth. And I saw a lot of needs and overheard a lot of conversations because my classroom was directly across from the school counselor's office. And so I really got to listen, overhear some of the things that our kiddos needed. And I thought, wow, that is pretty neat, to walk away knowing I was able to impact my families, my kids, and I really admired her, and I admired the relationships that she had with them, with the families and students. And so I just remember thinking, I want to do that. I want to make an impact on them as well, and utilize some of the skills that we have, right, as teachers, and just having more deeper relationships with them and kind of walking that journey with them. So I talked to her. I talked to the school counselor. I'm like, tell me about you. Tell me how you got here. And so I started school counselor. Started my master's program. I want to say was the second year or third year of teaching.
Oh,
And so when I got, I went into the program and I was like, this is neat. This is the place I want to be. So I never looked back. Never looked back at teaching.
and it's been a long road too.
As
Yeah. Caroline, what's your story?
So I also started out, teaching, and my undergraduate degree is elementary education with a specialization in gifted and talented. And I started out as a, low income school, very high need school that had a lot of behavior issues, and it was kind of a tough school to be in the district. And I think it was like my second year teaching, maybe being in my third year, that I just found myself, I wasn't really passionate about teaching math or social studies or science or writing or reading. Like there wasn't, I did it and I was fine and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't necessarily my passion. What I really liked was helping kids solve conflict at recess and helping them navigate like tough life situations, and using some of our things in class to just learn how to become a good human and contribute to society and be able to cope with the things that are going on at home and at school, and just different things that kind of came about that. And so I kind of went around our school at one point in time and kind of did some interviews with some different people and that had done different master's programs. I talked to a couple of our sped teachers. I talked to our diag. I talked to the counselor, and I kind of got some different perspectives of master's programs and what they thought of their job. And so that was kind of when I started to look really into school counseling, and started to think that maybe that would be a way to combine like the teaching part of it, but with the other like social emotional stuff that I like do enjoy, working with kids on. And I, just saw very much of a high need at that campus, of kids that needed that extra support, did not know how to, regulate their emotions, or didn't have like a skill set of coping skills, because of whatever reason. And so they, needed somebody in their corner to advocate for them, somebody in their corner to kind of help teach them that. And so I just kind of thought that could be, me. So I started grad school, I think in my fourth year, as a teacher, and did 6 years teaching total before I made the switch over.
Awesome. I think my path was, I think I took a long time to get here. I feel like I did, but I appreciate my journey, and I think it was for a reason at the end. So I grew up a teacher's kid. My mom was an educator for 35 years. So my childhood was more like living in the school in the afternoon while my mom was grading papers, or sitting in the car when she was doing home visits, back in her day. So I actually shied away from education. Like I was like, no, thank you, because I saw all the other stuff that really occurred in the background. When growing up, I knew I wanted to be a helper, and I knew that I had a servant heart, but I didn't exactly know where that was going to land me. And so my bachelor's degree is in healthcare administration, because I thought I was going to like run a clinic in Africa and save the world or feed the children. Like that's kind of was my vibe. Like I was trying to do Peace Corps, like that type of thing. But ended up in education. So my mom gets to say I told you so, because she's like, you should totally get your degree. And I was like, no, I don't want to. So I ended up being a paraprofessional while I was getting my master's in a completely different field, and fell in love with education. And I had always worked with children. And so I ended up being a para, getting my teacher certificate, being a life skills teacher. And so we had a counselor here in Morningside. Her name is Debbie Clemens, the sweetest soul, like the best person ever. And she is really the one inspired me, like who you could be for these students. Like the students adored her and they felt safe with her. Um, and I really appreciated that. And she made me feel safe as a person too, as an educator. But I'm like, man, I want to be like her. I want to be able to serve in that way. And so I ended up, getting my master's and getting my first year into school counseling, and loved it. Like I loved every second. It's hard, as you guys know, but it's just so nice to be in a role where you feel like you're making a difference. We know teachers make a difference, but I think the impact of working with the students and their parents and the community, you get to maybe see sometimes your efforts, go a long way. So I really appreciate kind of standing in the gap